Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the Right Stand this Tuesday evening, a day of political turmoil in Bihar, but we are going to keep the spotlight turned on national security, more importantly, internal security. We've been pushing for a huge crackdown on radicals, Trojans within, and in that, here comes the big challenge at this point, ladies and gentlemen. The challenge is that there are lone wolves who are inspired by the Daesh, that's the Islamic State, who are operating across the length and breadth of the country. There's been a major crackdown on radicals, but there is more. Here tonight, on the Right Stand, we break this big news that in Uttar Pradesh's Azamgarh, there has been a crackdown and a lone wolf inspired by the ISIS has been nabbed by the authorities. This is big news coming through at this point. A man by the name of Sabauddin Azmi has been arrested by the ISIS, by the UP task force. He's inspired by the ISIS and he was planning a lone wolf attack around the Independence Day. Key RSS leaders and I think some very big names in Uttar Pradesh were in his radar. CNN News 18 has accessed the key forensic details. He was a member and directly in touch with ISIS recruiters. He was also following the ISIS social media channel on Telegram called Al-Sakar. He was also trying to understand various methods of making explosive devices. He was openly in touch with the ISIS controllers, and as per the interrogation details, he was planning something major on Independence Day. He was using social media and Telegram app chats, and they show that he had links with ISIS controllers, in touch with operatives in Pakistan, in Syria, in Iraq. He sought help in bomb making, and he was tasked with killing big RSS leaders. Also, incriminating material has been recovered from his village, Mubarakpur, somewhere in Azamgarh, recovered from his village in near a burial ground. That's where it has been now recovered. Big crackdown. This has happened by the Uttar Pradesh police and the task force which has been cracking down. But it's a string of cracks which have happened, ladies and gentlemen. There is a huge number of such people who are spread across the country who are inspired by radical pan-Islamist terrorist outfits like the Daesh or the Islamic State, and also inspired by other outfits, terror outfits like the Al-Qaeda. Now, this person, he was an electrician. He was an electrician by profession and was working in Mumbai earlier. He was running a fake ID on Telegram by the name of Bairam Khan. And on this, he was trying to get more information about bomb making. He was also trying to establish the Islamic State in India through social media. And during the course of investigation, it was found that not only was he highly radicalized, but got too far gone, that in his Telegram app, he was also in touch with Abu Bakr al-Somani and this entire group called Jihad Apne Tarike Se, operated by Abu Bakr from Murtania. Now, with these two IDs, he was talking from his fake ID of Bairam Khan. He was speaking with them. The chats disclosed he was talking about a method of making an electronic bomb, which is like a hand grenade. Abu Bakr al-Somali has also sent him pictures of various equipments that he is needed, that he will have to collect, like wires, nuts and bolts, machines, etc., and wanted him to arrange all that. This man, Sabauddin, was also in the process of arranging sulfur, gunpowder and other chemicals. He's also asked for the video of training so that he can establish Islamic State in India. Sabauddin was in touch with operatives from Pakistan. This is his picture. Accessed specifically by CNN News 18, our investigations editor Manoj Gupta getting us these details, but this is his picture. This is Sabauddin Azmi, who's been arrested in Uttar Pradesh. He was in touch with operatives from Pakistan and Syria. The individuals who he was in touch with from Pakistan, Syria and Iraq have been identified as Bilal, Musa alias Khatab Kashmiri, Abu Sami Mujahideen, Abu Bakr al-Somali and Abu Omar. All these individuals are members and working actively for the Daesh or the Islamic State of ISIS of Iraq and Syria. These individuals wanted him to come for training and do jihad in Palestine, Kashmir and Syria. These people have shared all their notes on Al Sakar media channel, and Sabauddin was also part of this. On his identification, agencies have recovered all this material from his native village, from a burial ground. The agencies are saying there will be more follow-up action that could happen soon. So far, we are given to understand he's a lone wolf, but how many such lone wolves are operating around us in our country at this point, and how deep does this rot run? It's an alarm bell ringing. There is a crackdown in the last 2 or 3 weeks on radicals within. Pathikrit Payne, geopolitical analyst and security analyst with us. Pathikrit, there is so much information that we have put out here, but this is alarming. It's not an organized terror module. This is an organization of lone wolves, all inspired by the ISIS. And if we have such elements present across our country, they can unleash a lot of trouble.
Oh, absolutely, Anand. In fact, in one of your last programs, we had mentioned about the 4 or 5 crore illegal immigrants in this country.
Yes.
Even if 1% of them are radicalized, that's a huge threat for the country. So, if you look at it, it's perfectly in sync with the Pakistani module or template of bleeding India through 1,000 cuts, and the ISIS template of actually going back to your own country and doing jihad over there. So, I think there is a combination of ISIS and ISI, working in tandem into it. Let me tell you, Anand, one thing. Radicalization, whether it is online and offline, it's often preceded, in most cases, if not all cases, often preceded by fundamentalist education in many cases, the madrasas. And that is where the fundamentalist mindset is created from those people with fundamentalist mindset. When they search for specific groups where they can actually find more information, that is where the radicalization, both online and offline, starts. And this is what is very critical to understand, that organized terror attacks, the way they did it in case of Kashmir, the Fidai attacks, have become counterproductive for Pakistan, because they know every Pulwama will be reciprocated by a Balakot kind of an airstrike. So a template of lone wolf strikes, radicalized people getting into dissent, creating internal mayhem, an internal uprising, colored revolution, everything is being tried upon, Anand, to destabilize this country. And let me tell you one thing, Anand, a lot of people may not agree to this. There is definitely a hand of our neighbors. There's no denial of that. But let's also not discount the possibility of some elements in the West also being involved and using this controlled assets to actually destabilize India. Because while India is a great market for them and somebody who can counter the Chinese, they don't want to India come out as an assertive, resilient country with its own independent foreign policy and becoming strong. So while we are very, very secure reasonably in terms of being from external attacks, it is the internal security aspect where a lot of effort has to be given and is being given by the central government, no doubt. I want to mention one thing. In UK, there is a very successful Project Griffin. Project Griffin is where the law enforcement agencies take in tandem with all the private security agencies of the country, others as informers. In India, you have 90 lakh people working as private security guards. They actually can become your eyes and ears to get those information. Ultimately, all these operations that are being done by the law enforcement agencies are based on intelligence inputs, and that is where it is so very good to see that in the last 2 years, through whether it is CCTNS or nabbed or other efforts that has been made in terms of tracking or surveilling what is happening in the online, has become so very important. But let's also not discount the offline aspect. I want to mention one last point, Anand. It might sound strange, but the right to education is one of the biggest culprits over here. Due to a Right to Education Act, all the minority institutions are out of bound of any kind of regulation. So you simply do not know what is being taught in a madrasa. There is no regulation of who is coming and teaching, what it is educational background, what is his